Hey, how's it going, Derek?
Doing all right. How about you?
Hanging in there, buddy, hanging in there. So, for those people who don't know Derek is a rising soon to be junior at MIT. So, most schools we have subjects and majors. You guys have courses. So, take us into the world of MIT and for those who don't know, even what a course is at MIT.
Got it. All right. So basically the courses at MIT are the equivalent of a major at any other school. Um, I know a lot of people will be familiar with the system. Like the majors at other schools will actually have their names, and it's much more intuitive and easy to understand. So like if you're an engineering major, you'll call it an engineering major. Like for me, for example, I'm a chemical biological engineering major, but at MIT, the way it works is the courses are labeled with numbers and letters or short terms to give further description within a major.
Your major considered course 10B.
Yep, I'm considered 10B.
Is that how you guys talk to each other? Hey, I'm 10B. Are you 10C? I'm
It actually is, yeah. It's and I would say it took me maybe a few months to get a general grasp of like what each course number was. I will say there are still probably some numbers that I don't know off the top of my head.
But I do want to talk about the first year. A lot of students will look at schools like MIT and think that it is more pre-professional. I'm going in, know what I want. But there are a lot of students that are exploring there, obviously. So you have multiple different pathways, right? You have the conventional or academic exploration. How did you go when you first came in?
I applied to MIT wanting to be a chemical engineer, but I will say where the a bit of the flexibility came into play for me was I had initially wanted to go there and work on green energy, like biofuels. But even then, I wasn't as sure that I wanted to go into a bio-related field. I just knew I wanted to work on green energy because I'm a scuba diver. I grew up near the ocean. I love the ocean, and that was kind of my main driving force behind my interests. Yeah, so I initially went to the school. I guess not fully decided on what I wanted to do, but having a general sense of direction. And it was actually after I took the introductory bio course there. And I remember there was a section of lectures about stem cells and sort of cancer biology. And that was kind of, for me, honestly, a turning point in my career
I'm
out
going to do
bio.
pharmaceuticals now, right? Or is that where you're leaning towards?
I think like biotech, pharmaceuticals, yeah, that's kind of what interests me now.
Where are you kind of most aimed at? Is it cancer research? Because you mentioned that.
Yeah, like regenerative medicine, neurodegenerative disease treatment, cancer treatment. Like a lot of that is kind of what I'm focused on now. However, I still don't even think I have a full
Yeah.
decision on or a full necessarily focus on where I'm even going to go from there, just because there is so much that I have to figure out, whether it's just like what classes I take or what internships I find myself in over the next couple of years. I think I still want to make sure I'm very open to wherever my classes or my professional opportunities take.
Right. And so you're doing biological chemical engineering. Does that kind of double stack the requirements, or is it kind of slim them down to kind of, because you have biological engineering, chemical engineering, you're like,
I actually do think my course at MIT is, I think, up there. If it's not like one of the top three courses in terms of required units, I think it might be like the highest unit requirement.
so Derek, you're going to show us this is what we would say is a degree map.
Yeah, yeah. Green is basically like your gen eds, your calculus, physics, chemistry, bio.
There's also the thing with freshman year, you can opt not to go for grades, right?
Yeah, that's honestly one of my favorite parts about freshman year is that they gave us that leniency. Freshman fall is every class, no matter what, is graded on pass no record basis. So any passing letter grade you receive will just show up as a pass in your transcript, and any failing grade will just be eliminated. I think they do that just to make sure the students can really get a sense for what the school is like before there's real stakes on the line.
I love that because I think that leniency that MIT affords the students really just opens them up to kind of actually be present and not be stressed, which is fantastic for a school of this caliber.
Honestly, I think the purpose is definitely to let the incoming freshmen have a little bit feel a little bit more comfortable just because like you said, obviously you're adjusting to a new school, new people, new area for most students. And I think it does also fall on the upperclassmen, and I'll even include sophomores in this. Everyone who's already gone through their freshman year, it also falls on them to help reinforce that sort of feeling of a safety net. So they're still like they sort of ease you into the actual full letter grade system.
And that really does also reduce the competition level too, because you don't have these measuring sticks. It's like we're all like on the same playing field. Let's just have fun with our brains, which it seems.
Exactly.
I remember talking to actually an admissions officer at MIT one time, and I said, because I always ask, like, what's the best thing? And I'll ask you this too. What's the best thing and worst thing about MIT? And he goes, the best thing is the students. And he goes, I don't just mean that as an admissions person. He goes, but I think that the students are the best component of that school for each other. And
Mhm.
would you align with that? Or would you say, like, no, the peers are cool, but it's my professors and the resources. Obviously, they're all amazing.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, the fact that there is that they're kind of removing that sense of competition from peer to peer, it makes this at least my freshman year. I lived in New Vassar. That was my dorm name. I lived with a lot of my water polo teammates. I lived with a lot of football guys, some baseball guys, and we all at freshman fall, everyone takes a very similar course load. The overwhelming majority of people I knew worked together on those classes, and I don't think personally, I don't know if I worked on a single problem set for like math and
By
my
yourself.
physics class, yeah, by myself. Even if I would do the majority of the work on my own, it always came back to me checking my answers with somebody else. Like people were saying their P sets back and forth between each other, and people would do their own work. Like everyone was completing this up on their own, but it's like you want to see if other people are doing better than you, or if other people know more than you. And odds are for someone like me, like 99% of the time, somebody would know more than me. So that's another beautiful thing about the school is that you're like obviously everyone that's there deserves to be there. And no matter how much imposter syndrome someone has, like at the end of the day, if you get into the school, you belong there and you have the capabilities to be at that school. But everybody that goes to the school, um, in one way or another is extremely ambitious. And that could be, I know some people there want to go to the school so that they could make a lot of money and support their family and give back to their parents at some point. And I know a lot of people that want to go into academia and conduct research and solve problems for the world and make a lasting impact. And they want that to be their legacy. But I think that's kind of the common linkage between every student is that going into the school, they knew that they wanted their education to result in them making like a lasting impact on the world or making a lasting impact on other people or for their own family. And the I think that's another thing that I would imagine the school wants to see.
I want to just do something I love doing, which is dropping into Google Earth. This is Boston over here, Boston proper. You got Boston Common over here, which is like kind of Boston's Central Park. You have some other schools over here, BU, Boston College is all the way to my left. You can't see over here on the river on the north side is Harvard, and then we have MIT over here. We have Fenway Park right over here, so you can see the Red Sox, and then Northeastern is right over here. So you have a ton of schools in this area, but the one we care about right now is this guy. Is this kind of like the sun god lawn of the school where everyone kind of goes and hangs out, or is it not really? Is it more just kind of picturesque?
I will say the majority of the year it is more of a tourist spot.
Yeah.
And if people are passing through, like I passed in front of that field like in front of Killian probably like every day for this past semester.
When the ground turns muddy, and now it's starting to go from winter to spring, and that kind of like the first sunny day, that feeling. It's like euphoria.
Oh yeah,
First,
I can relate to that for sure. Like especially coming from SoCal where you get kind of a constant like well above average climate where it's like it's kind of beautiful all the time. Like in Boston, it goes from like gray, cold, miserable a little bit in the winter, and then you get that first day in spring when it's sunny and it's like 55 out, you're like, life is pretty awesome, like
Yeah.
it's the things are looking a little bit green again. Like you're starting to see grass grow in the spots where they weren't or where they were covered by snow before. And it is a really crazy experience. It's like something that I had never experienced in California. So it was really beautiful.
What besides the reputation of MIT drew you to go to the other side of the country?
Growing up, my entire life throughout high school, and all the years before, I I lived in Redondo Beach, the same house for 18 years. I love the town, I love the area, I love the beach, I love the weather, but I will say something I definitely considered before deciding to make the move to MIT because for most of my life, actually, I think UCLA was like my dream school. It was my top school, and that was because I was thinking, I could stay close to home. I'd be able to see a lot of my friends because I'm sure they'd be nearby. But when the time came when I had to make a decision between the schools, I had UCLA on the table. I had MIT on the table at that point. I knew about MIT before. Still something I thought about a lot was whether or not I wanted to make the move to meet a new world of people from around the country at MIT, or if I wanted that comfort of home. And I think something that I talked to my parents a lot about, talked to my friends about, I eventually determined would be really valuable for myself, just being in a new part of the country. Is it a little bit further from home than I would like? Yes. Obviously, if there was a way where I could have like MIT and the culture and everybody on campus closer to home, like if I could have a commute that was shorter, obviously I would take that. I would love that.
MIT does have kind of a linear campus, not quite as linear as BU, which is like literally just a strip, but you
Yeah.
guys do have this like long, like length to it. Um, does that feel like everything kind of gets centered in a certain area?
I guess as you get more into major discipline classes, for me personally, chemical engineering, you see that little triangular building? That's the chemical engineering building. Like that area of campus in particular, like that, I find myself there every single day because I would say that's one of the most central parts of campus.
Like right here?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because that building you're looking at right now, that's the biology building. And so I had my like introductory molecular biology lab this semester, and that was the building where it would always happen in. And then I guess on the right side of your screen, that building, that's the status center, and that's kind of like
Yeah.
a
Tell me about this because this looks like a Frank Lloyd Wright build. There's interesting architecture in here.
oh definitely and even in the winter, yeah, it's a crazy building. I don't know exactly who it was built by, but yeah, the really jarring architecture. It's like you have all these like random angles, you have all these random overhangs, like you have some rounded corners, you have
Dude, that's so
yeah,
cool.
there's like little restaurants, little cafes in there, and it's you lose a sense of what floor is where. Like the second floor, there's like a lot of gaps in it, so you can like see directly to the first floor. Even if you're on like the third or fourth, there are some gaps through the floors where you can just see all the way down, and it's a really neat building. So I live on the Boston side of the river. I actually live very close to the BU campus. The whole area around like where I live now is a bunch of brownstones. Like the house with all the ivy on the outside and the red door, that's where I live.
When you think about, like the motto at MIT is what, mind in hand or something like that.
That sounds about right.
It always feels like it's a very hands-on school. That's, there's the old, I don't know if it's folklore that they take the clocks off the walls in the labs at MIT. What I'm getting at is how do you balance social life with this ambitious, hands-on, no clocks on the walls in the labs? If that's real, it's probably not. Because a lot of students will say, is there any social life at MIT?
99% of people there, or maybe like 90% of the people, myself included, super nerdy, super nerdy. But I don't think being nerdy and also being able to be someone who's enjoyable to talk to, and everyone I talk to are um, the people in my classes, people in my major, very down to earth people, just in terms of like social life. Obviously, my water polo team, my first group of friends I ever found on campus. The other sophomores on water polo, easily my closest friends at the school. There's the team. There's obviously the house I live in is one of the fraternities, and I think a lot of the times when people want to make sure that they're going to have a social life and that to make sure that they're kind of involved around campus. I think a lot they'll usually join Greek life. And one of the things I actually do like a lot about the Greek life at MIT is it's like a lot of the people, a lot of the houses don't take themselves too seriously. Like they understand everyone there. They're going to the school because it's MIT. They're going there to for the academic aspect, for the professional development. They know that everyone has the same focuses and the same aspirations. There's the hacking culture, which is just students like to pull pranks on the school on each other. They'll set up like little fun Easter eggs around campus, and obviously there's like the tunnel system that runs underneath campus. And I wish I had it on me, but every year the sophomore class or the current sophomores receive their class ring called the brass rat. Huge ring, tons of engravings, and on the inside of the ring, right underneath the bezel, there's usually the hacker's map, which is just like sort of a sketch of the tunnel system that runs underneath campus.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
yeah, it's super really neat. There's like murals in the tunnels and stuff. There's people putting uh like interactive artworks that if you like scan a QR code or if you have like the right software on your phone, you point it at it and the painting starts moving.
Oh,
And
shit.
yeah, it's really neat.
Do you guys use the tunnels more in the winter, or is it just an all season thing?
I think definitely more in the winter, just because if it's like the spring or summer, it probably gets pretty hot. But yeah, during the winter, definitely there are times where like if it's like snowing sideways a little bit, you might go in the tunnels just so you're not dealing with that.
If you were to think about a certain kind of social event that happens at MIT that might not elsewhere.
Marathon Monday, and
Yeah.
it's late April every year. Obviously, it's the day of the Boston Marathon, but it's I would say it's the one day of the year where MIT looks closest to a state school. Obviously, we'll never. I don't think we'll ever get anywhere near like
Yeah.
obviously I'm not gonna even try to pretend that we get close to like ASU or
Yeah.
an SEC school, but it's a one day of the year where everybody is active from morning until evening, going to either like a party, watching the marathon, going out and doing something. But it's really cool to see, especially if it's like a nice day out. That's usually when the weather starts getting pretty. And it's just like from literally sunrise until sunset, there's people out and about doing things. And that was something really fun this year and last year as well.
If you were to say the best thing about MIT and the worst thing about MIT, I know everyone's like, there is no worst thing. The best thing is the people. So I wish I'd tell people, like, if you're going to say the best thing is the people, like, give me a qualifier.
The best thing I will say, I love the school. I love the people. Um, but honestly, for me, I think the best thing has been the water polo team. Honestly,
Sure.
it's yeah. This is the closest I've ever been with any of the teams I've played with. Like I played club water polo since like sixth grade. I played with a lot of different people growing up. Played with a few different teams. And I liked the teams. I had a great time playing with them. But getting to MIT, it's like in high school and club, obviously everyone's there for the sport, but people have different interests, maybe like career wise or academically, and that's maybe something you don't talk about a lot. But when you do, it's obvious that people have different interests. But at MIT, this is like the first team I've ever played with where everyone is in love with the sport, especially because it's D3 and there's no obligation to play. Like everyone that's on the team is on the team because it enhances their college life.
I love it. So what's the worst thing?
The worst thing is for sure the imposter syndrome, without a doubt. It's everybody has it to some extent. If you don't have it, that means you're either not as smart as you think you are, or you are just insanely smart. There's no in between. It's either if you don't have imposter syndrome, you're either maybe Dunning-Kruger affecting yourself, or you have like just insane like capabilities that other students don't. But the overwhelming majority of students, they show up to the school and the first thing they see is other students were like for the first time in their life, maybe in high school, they were like the best at what they did. But then you get to MIT and it's like there's at least like a quarter of the class besides you that is better than you at that thing you thought you were the best at.
The last thing I'll say is a lot of students that are in high school will be watching this. Or what would you say as a piece of advice to them?
I would say it's very cliche, but just make sure no matter what you're doing, you're pursuing something that you truly enjoy because um, school, especially MIT, it gets hard. And um, at the end of the day, you can have the most supportive people around you. But if you are not sitting there every day and you're not telling yourself, like, this is what I want to pursue, like, I love what I'm doing, or like, I'm fully invested in this goal that I have, it's not going to be enjoyable. And honestly, it's not going to be worth the money that you pay to go to school. It's not going to be worth the time that you put into it if you're pursuing something that you don't, that you're at least not convinced that you want to pursue or that you're passionate about. I think that's the most important thing anyone can do going to MIT, going to anywhere else, is that they're following something that they know that they can think of a reason, a concrete reason for wanting to pursue and wanting to be passionate about.
So that's really good advice. Derek, you're crushing it. It sounds like you're having an awesome time. Thank you for all your time this morning, and keep crushing it at MIT, buddy.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for having me on Bluecast, you know.